Welcome to Small Bite Sound Bites, a weekly segment of the Food for Thought podcast. Thank you for your support of this podcast, keeping it ad-free. Enjoy perks and join our community of supporters at patreon.com/Colleen Patrick-Goudreau, or just go straight to joyfulvegan.com and click on the donate button. Okay, I'm going to set up a scene for you all listening out there. Have you ever read the news, or most likely just read the news headlines, and felt this overwhelming sense of dread and anxiety and stress and fear and thought, this doesn't feel good. I don't want to feel this way, but I can't stop reading the news headlines because otherwise I wouldn't be engaged, and I want to be engaged. If you have ever felt that, I want to reframe this experience for you. If reading the news gives you anxiety, give yourself permission to stop reading the news. And I'm saying read the news, looking at it on social media, listening to, political podcasts, listening to the news on the radio, watching the news on TV or on the internet, as people tend to do these days. If in any way you get agita from being exposed to the news, then stop exposing yourself to the news. The problem is that we equate outrage with engagement, and it's a distorted understanding of engagement. We are in a world where news headlines scream for our attention 24 hours a day, and this relentless cycle of, I'm putting news in quotations, pretty much just leaves us feeling outraged. It leaves us feeling powerless, and we mistake emotional turmoil for true engagement. Engagement is not reacting to what others decide is content that we should be paying attention to. That's not engagement, that's reaction. True engagement means being proactive and deciding for ourselves what matters, deciding for ourselves what we want to pay attention to. Now, we can do that. I would suggest that if you're right now just reading short form stories, especially in the form of social media stories, or just reading the headlines, stop doing that and look to long form stories, kind of more thoughtful articles about a topic that's going to give you kind of a nuanced perspective and different perspectives about a very complex issue. And most issues are complex, right? But if you're not even prepared to do that right now because you're just feeling so burnt out, then step away from the news for a month. Do it for 30 days. I'm a proponent of 30-day challenges, and I really recommend just stepping away for 30 days. And in that time period, just do other things, first of all, that's going to empower you and return control to your own attention and your own focus, because that's what's them. It's going to be the same thing. You don't realize how much you just reach for the phone or put on a YouTube video or go to a social media post and do that constantly. And you're just constantly getting fed things that make you upset. And you don't realize how much you do it until you stop doing it. So first of all, just enjoy being away from it and allow yourself some time to get used to it. Because I'm going to tell you, in the first few days, you're going to keep grabbing for your phone, and you're going to keep wanting to, you're going to have the impulse to go toward those things and go to those things that you're used to going to. So give yourself time to not do that and to just change those habits. But also, I really encourage you to engage in more meaningful ways. So one way I mentioned was reading long form news, but I really think taking a 30-day news diet is going to be the best thing. And eventually I would encourage you to return to the news and do long form content and not short form. So that's that. But while you're away from the news for 30 days, really engage more meaningfully in things that are important in our lives. Because I can guarantee right now, if I asked you, think about what the news headlines were a year ago today. Okay, 6 months ago today, 3 months ago today, in every one of those time frames, you would think, okay, I don't remember, but at that moment, it probably felt like the most important thing at that moment in that day. And so you felt engaged because you knew what was going on. To what end? How did it serve you? How did that impact you? How did your knowledge of that most important piece of news make you better that day? And how did it help you make the world a better place that day? I'm going to guess not very much. So being truly engaged in what's going on in our world means being present in our communities. How much time are you spending with your neighbors? How much time are you spending asking people around you if they need help? What about, your local businesses or just friends who might need support? Just how much time are you engaging in the people who are closest to you, right? So that would be another way I would encourage you to use that time away from news. And that could be extended even to volunteer work. How much time are you spending looking at the news versus maybe an hour, maybe 2 hours, maybe 3 hours a week? You'd be able to take that time and spend with causes you care about. And that would be something I would encourage you to do as well. And I always encourage people to do this when they're taking the 30-day vegan challenge, is to write down how you're eating prior to taking the 30-day vegan challenge and then keep a log afterwards. Because I bet if you realize, oh my God, I was spending 3 hours a week on just looking at news and just getting outraged and enraged, wow, that's 3 hours a week you just freed up that you can go volunteer with an organization you care about. And it could possibly be even more than 3 hours a week. For some people, it's probably at least an hour a day, right? Or more. So that's another way you can use your time that you free up taking this 30-day news diet where you'd be engaged in a much more meaningful way. Because being engaged means being discerning about the information we consume. It means being thoughtful about the information we consume. It means prioritizing the issues that resonate with us rather than being swayed by the latest sensational headlines. Because I am not a cynic, but the news exists. The media exists for information. I'm not saying that, there are a lot of reputable journalists I admire very much. But honestly, in the end, the newspapers are there to sell newspapers. And unless you're, subscribing to a nonprofit, and there are nonprofit media outlets that I do subscribe to, the point is they're there to catch your attention, to keep you in this agita stage and wanting more, because we, as I said, conflate enragement for engagement. And so just keep that in mind, is we don't want to be swayed by everything that's happening at every moment. And it's not going to be something you're even going to remember a year from now. When we choose what we pay attention to, we shift from this reactive stance to a proactive stance. And we foster a sense of agency and purpose. And that's what I want for you. So at the end of the 30 days, I just really encourage you to journal throughout that time. You're going to see the effects at the end of the positive effects at the end of 30 days. You're going to see that your emotions are more regulated. You're going to see that your anxiety is reduced, that your stress is reduced. You're not going to have this daily dose of alarm and emergency all the time, which absolutely messes with our fight or flight response, our adrenaline inside of us. And that absolutely quells our sense of joy and fulfillment and just sense of being regulated, right? And it means we have opportunity to spend more time with people we love, engaging in the creative hobbies we have, in exercising and being outside, in interacting with our neighbors, immersing ourselves in nature, all of these ways that we nourish our well-being that the news cycle never, ever can. And so in this hiatus, I also encourage you to seek out having a healthier relationship with technology. I know I feel that same sense of my heart racing when I pick up my phone and it's this adrenaline that courses through my body. I don't want that. I want to be able to regulate how I feel to the extent that I can. And there's a lot of things we can do to regulate our own emotions. But I know that feeling as well, which is why I'm coming to you with this PSA. I'm coming to you with this message, is because I am in the time period of staying away from the news. And I can tell you that it has enhanced my mental health. It has enhanced my quality of life, and I'm really enjoying it. And it's what I want for you as well. By choosing to disengage from the relentless news cycle, we make room for deeper, more meaningful connections with ourselves and with our communities. It means we're more thoughtful, we're more discerning, and in the end, I think it makes us more compassionate. I will also encourage you to read history as opposed to news headlines. That gives you more perspective. It gives you an understanding. It gives you hope. And it will allow you to feel that no matter what happens, you're going to be okay, and we're going to be okay because we've been through harder things before, and we can get through anything that's hard now. So let me know what you think. Let me know if it's something you're considering. Let me know if it's something you decide to do. I'm doing it with you. I'm right there. To be honest, for me, it's going to go beyond 30 days, and I'd love to hear how it goes for you. So thanks so much. If you like what you've heard, please share it with others. Please leave a review for Food for Thought. Please follow this podcast, and please consider supporting it. Even $5 a month enables me to continue producing these messages and to create a community of compassionate people at joyfulvegan.com/donate, or you can go to patreon.com/Colleen Patrick-Goudreau. Until next time, for the animals, human and non-human, this is Colleen Patrick-Goudreau. Thanks for listening.